Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Growth and your boy Hadar here, and today we're gonna cover how you can get the most out of somebody when you're having a conversation. Now, there's no doubt that it could be challenging and it does take a little bit more practice, but it's as simple as this. When you're having a conversation with an individual and you're having some rough time getting any type of information, or you want them to explain a little bit more and they're nervous or they're scared, or just they're the type of person that not necessarily the ones that really want to share a story with you, or not talkative individual. The best case scenario that you could do ever is to ask an open-ended question, right? So you always want to start off with an open-ended question, and applies not just between you and a friend or a family member or a teacher or student, whatever the case is. You can apply that to dating as well. If you want to get information about the individual that you're talking to, and you don't know how to, well, by the end of this video, I guarantee you're gonna know exactly what we're talking about here. So like I said, you start off with an open-ended question, and the reason that is important is when you start off with an open-ended question, you're not, I wouldn't want to use the word force, but you're indirectly forcing the individual in front of you to answer more than just yes or no. For example, if I ask you, do you like red, the color, right? Do you like the color red? It's like yes or no. So it is a lot harder for me if I want to know the individual what's their favorite color is, to ask them this question like, hey, do you like red? No. Do you like green? No. See, that's a lot harder. Instead, you should ask this: hey, what color do you like? So that's an open-ended question. So they're just gonna have to forcefully ask you what that is. So they're gonna have to indirectly forcefully tell you what their favorite color is. Now, you can step it up a little bit of a notch and saying what? Well, instead of just saying what type of color do you like, you could say, for example, hey, what type of color do you like and why? So now you're telling them to explain a little bit more about the background, why they have or they like that particular color. Now, another thing too to keep in mind is that silence is king. So once you send that question out, or you ask that question out with that individual, you want to make sure that you're waiting, silent. Be silent, even if it's taking them 30-40 seconds or even a minute or two. Be silent. I cannot stress enough how bad it is when individuals ask a question and then they don't get the response within like 3 seconds. Ask another question and another question and another question, and they bombard the other opposite end of the individual that they're trying to get some answers from with all of these questions. Or even worse is when somebody is answering the question and you get cut off in the middle. Don't ever do that to anyone, right? If they're answering your question and you're not getting the answer you want, just be silent, be quiet. Let them talk, let them talk, let them talk. And this is actually one of the basic fundamentals, not just in getting to know the individual in front of you or getting to know more details about the individual. It's one of the most common things, that a technique you use to actually negotiate. The more details the other individual is giving you, the more you are winning in the whole setting, not because you're getting to let the other person talk more than you, but it's just because you're getting a lot more information from the other individual that will help you either learn more about some particular topic that you're wondering, or you would learn more about the individual and to ask even more deeper question to whether you can negotiate or you try to connect with them more. So after you're quiet, it's very important, if you don't get the answer that you want, not to call out the person and just call them by names. It's like, oh, you're stupid, or do you not understand my question? Don't get frustrated, because if the individual is already having a hard time to actually share with you the answer that you want to begin with, having you to show being angry or disappointed would not encourage that particular individual to continue on sharing that information with you. So instead, what you want to do is remain calm, even though if you're pissed off, even though if you're frustrated, and just continue to ask open-ended question. So for example, if they tell you, well, I like the color blue because it reminds me of the beach and it reminds me of the ocean and all that stuff. So then you should follow up and say, well, what is it about the ocean that you like? So that way you try to understand a little bit deeper to what that means from the other individual, so that way you can clarify some other maybe details that you're missing out of this whole conversation. And once this happens, give the individual time to not only think about your question, but be open to reconstruct your question if the individual truly does not understand what you mean. So if I ask that question again, hey, what is it about the ocean that you like? And I got a response and the individual is saying, what do you mean? Like, well, it's always good to relate something to the individual so that way they feel comfortable with you. So what I would say is, well, you said it reminds you of the ocean, so obviously you like the ocean, right? And they'll be like, yeah. So what exactly do you like about the ocean? It's very important that you don't really share some answers to them. Like, for example, don't put words in their mouth, meaning like I wouldn't say, well, is it because of the, is it because there's salt in it? Is it because of the waves? Is it because of the smell? Don't add that, because then you're giving them what? A close-ended question, so then they can say yes or no. So you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is continue on using open-ended question. That's extremely important. So again, like I said, relate to them so that way they know they're comfortable with you to share that information, and they'll be like, hey, well, you said you like it because of the ocean, so obviously you like the ocean for some reason, right? They're like, yeah. I'll be like, so what is it about the ocean that you like? I'm just curious to know and find out. And then that should really do the trick for you, because then you're like, they just want to know what I like. So you're just trying to get to learn more about them. I really hope you guys find this video to be helpful. If you do, please make sure you like, subscribe, share, and put in the notification button. And I'll see you guys later. Take care and you have a nice day.